Hello, class. My name is AJ Chen, and as a fellow classmate, I am here to report on auditing in the news. So, my title of my article was AICPA and the NASB present a alternative pathway to the CPA licensure. This presentation is going to discuss what the article mentioned. It's going to discuss how this relates to the course concepts. It's going to provide some insight as to where I think this is going to lead the accounting profession. And I'm going to conclude. So, in summary, the contents of the article is going to be about the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, or the AICPA, and the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy, or the NASB, are exploring a new pathway to the CPA licensure. This is going to be a competency-based, experienced pathway to offer an additional route for CPA candidates who have completed a bachelor's degree in accounting. These professional competencies are going to be in ethical behavior, critical thinking and professional skepticism, communication, collaboration, self-management and continuous learning, business acumen, and technology mindset. The professional technical competencies are going to be a choice of either audit, tax, or business and financial reporting. So as you can see from this picture, we had the first two pathways to the CPA. So the only difference was that after you get your bachelor's degree, you could choose to get a master's degree to get the 150 credits, or take up to 30 credit hours to achieve the same 150 credit goal, plus a year of experience, and then plus passing the CPA. So this bottom bar is going to be the new pathway, which includes the competency-based experience pathway that I had just mentioned. So the reason why I think that they're trying to pass this as legislation is because they want to make it more flexible for people to take the CPA, as well as creating a more accessible pathway. One of the things that was mentioned was the cost of those extra credit hours. It can be a block for some individuals, as well as this extra pathway can be considered more rigorous, 1 year of work versus education. And so the idea is that this extra rigor would, in fact, be comparable to competency of a master's degree. So this is something that would be a benefit to the new pathway. So now we're going to tie the article to what we learned in the course. And so looking at the student body at VCU and even the classmates in our audit course, I think a large majority of us are going to be pursuing the CPA license at some point in our career after we graduate. And the proposition by the AICPA and the NASB is going to be a huge decision that these students are going to have to be making to kind of see what best fits their situation, what's feasible financially for these students. So this is going to be a huge difference in how we go about studying for the CPA, and of course when we study for the CPA, now that this extra requirement of a master's degree or the 30 credits is not can be done alternatively. And so I pulled this diagram right from the NASB annual reports, and you can see there is a decline in CPA examinations being proctored by the NASB. And so there is going to be this push to encourage new CPA candidates to take the CPA, and this pathway allows them to do so in a more accessible way than before. The textbook also mentions the professional responsibilities and duties of a practicing CPA. So firstly, they have a duty to serve the public interest. This concludes signing over audit and attest reports, signing tax returns as preparers. This is all to create a integrity in the financial statements of these companies, that they are presented faithfully. That also their goal or the responsibility is to abide and adhere to the professional standards set out by the Board of Accountancies, the AICPA, and the NASB, and also following a code of professional conduct. Lastly, they have an obligation to continue education, taking continue professional education courses to help update their knowledge about these complex accounting topics. And so I think that having this journey to get the CPA should also be reflected in this continued education process. I also wanted to highlight some of the future implications that this proposed legislation may have on the profession. So, as we all know, accounting is changing as a profession. It's becoming more technology focused, and so I think that this pathway should also represent this modern approach to accounting, and it should be relevant to what students need nowadays, and should also be inclusive to making sure that we are increasing that pipeline as our profession changes. Another aspect of the change in licensure or the change in pathway could lead to a global change. Maybe other countries will view getting their licensure differently as the world needs more CPAs. And finally, the future of accounting. Like I said, it's a little bit more focused on technology nowadays and less repetitive tasks done by hand. And so I think that we need to stay up to date on the topics that are included in the exam itself. So in conclusion, the article that was mentioned ahead of time was the focus on this competency-based pathway that would be alongside the previous pathways to obtaining your CPA license. This would be including, instead of getting those 30 credits either via a master's degree or additional credential program, you could take a year and work and pass the competencies in ethical behavior, critical thinking and professional skepticism, communication, collaboration, self-management, continuous learning, business acumen, and technology mindset. So these professional competencies would then be paired with one technical competency in either audit, tax, or business and financial reporting to continue the competency of the profession itself. So they're not removing any of the requirements, but they're allowing a different pathway. And so again, this is going to be something that's flexible and accessible to candidates who may not know what path that's right for them. So if there's like a financial barrier, this could help them as well. All right, so thank you. That was my presentation on the new competency-based pathway proposed by the AICPA and the NASB. And so I wish you all luck in your CPA journey, and I am wondering if any of you guys would be considering the additional year of work to pursue your CPA outside of the other options out there, such as obtaining a master's degree or the 150 credit requirement. Thank you.